You've been looking forward to. As I mentioned to you earlier, Darrell's caught a huge number of big carp, and it's worth pointing out he's not a full-time angler, he has got a job, and he's fished some of the hardest lakes in the country and uses, you know, very, very few rigs indeed. I think this bit's going to really surprise you. It certainly opened my eyes. Darrell's just going to take us through the 3 rigs that he's caught, what he thinks are 3 of his best fish, including the biggest carp that swims in the British Isles. So you've got these 3 rigs here, Darrell. Do you want to pick up the first one? And okay, right. What can you say? There isn't much to say about that, really, is there? So tell us, what's going on here, and what did you catch on this rig, Darrell?
Well, I caught Arthur out the car park lake on this at 48 pound. Everyone says that it's a really difficult lake and that you have to use super rigs and that. But
that's right, yeah.
To be honest, this proves that can't be further from the truth. It doesn't get no simpler than that. It's a strong, reliable braid, the Supernatural in 20 pound, a size 6 wide gape to a 20mm bottom bait on a knotless knot. It doesn't get any.
It doesn't
get any plainer than that.
So why are you using? So there's no shrink tube. There's no. I think it's worth pointing out. You know, a lot of people who buy the magazines and who are watching this show, perhaps. So everybody thinks that guys like you have a secret weapon, a secret rig, or a secret bait, but you haven't. It's plain simple, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Basically, it's just strong, reliable components that if I hook one and I want to land it, and this is doing that for me. I don't need any super rig to turn, flip and catch it.
Right.
This is going to do what I want it to do. And
so that's a good point there, Darrell. So what really, I mean, I've seen you fishing last night and so on, and you're really fastidious, fussy about how you get that rig cast and where it's going.
Yep.
And that's the more important thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more important where I am fishing, in where the carp are, and how the rig goes out there. I like to see it in the air, not tangled, and it's all about how the lead touches bottom in comparison to what I know is out there.
Right.
And that's more important to me than what this is doing for me.
Okay, so would you just said in comparison to the bottom, would you ever vary the length of that, shorten it or lengthen it? Or?
Yeah, totally. Like if I'm fishing over really clean gravel like I was at Yateley, then 6-7 inches, 5 to 7 inches, it'd be good for most situations. But if I was fishing over a bit of debris, then I might lengthen it to say 10 inches.
Right. But, okay.
That's the only difference.
The other thing is, Darrell, you've got, as you say, you've got a braid straight through now. A lot of people use coated hook links these days, and they worry about getting tangles with braid. I mean, is it an issue?
It would be, I think, if you're using sort of helicopter rigs and leg clips. I think you're more prone to tangles like that. But with an inline setup, and if you watch it, it does help to have a big bait on. Right. Because if that's like the heaviest end of your rig, and if that's swinging around, that keeps it away from
throws it away from the leader and the line.
And if you can see that in the air, then you know you're not tangled.
Yeah.
Like. So as long as the boily's moving away from the lead, you know you're clear, like, and it's all good.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's really, really interesting. I think Darrell fished 30 nights on the car park lake, had 9 bites on what is deemed to be one of the most riggy and difficult waters in the whole country, and is using the most basic rig imaginable: a hook, a bit of braid, a swivel and a good bait. And it's where this man puts it that counts. Okay, mate, let's have a look at your second rig.
Right, this is the same as the first one. Basically, it's tied out of a coated braid. The reason for this was I wanted it like a nylon hook link that would give you the anti-tangle properties that you would generally associate with that. But I wanted the added strength of the braid, so I'll get both out of this. I've got the coated anti-tangle properties.
Yeah.
I've got a soft tear here where I've peeled this back just to allow the boilie free movement.
Right, so it's coated all the way through the knot, all the way down to the swivel, and just the hairs supple.
Pulled, yeah.
Right.
And yeah, again,
and that's it.
Straightforward. There's nothing to this, no rocket science here. This is strong, reliable, good components, and again, size 6 wide gape, ring swivel. I think that does help with the tangles, and
helps eliminate.
Yeah, eliminate tangles. Yeah. And
okay.
Again.
So what about how far you whip down the shank? I noticed that the hair's actually coming out a little bit earlier. Do you take it down level with the point, or?
Yeah, I take it down past the point, 1 turn past the land for when I tighten up that it will be level with the point, and then I whip 2 times behind the hair to allow it just sits the hook out at a more aggressive angle so that it's more likely to catch on the way out.
Right, which is something I think people do, but by adding other things to their rig. So you've created a similar effect by whipping it like that. You've made the hook more aggressive, and you also do something with your nail underneath the.
Yeah, what I do is basically, like you hear about chod rigs having a curve in it to allow it to turn. You can do this with tubing, but I just run my fingernail down the inner side of the coated braid like this, just gently, not like marking the material, and that just gives it a natural curve. Like
got ya.
Again, helps to if it's going to come out, it's going to come out like that and in the correct way and catch hopefully.
Very nice. And just again, Fat Lady was how big?
49.6 it was.
Massive. Very, very good. So strong, reliable. And Darrell knows when he puts it in the right spot, if he gets that big fish, pick it up, it comes into the bank more often than not, doesn't it?
9 times out of 10.
Excellent.